Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone. It's time for cricket now. The West Indies are currently in action against New Zealand A on day one of their three-day warm-up match in their tour of New Zealand. The match, the Windies' first on tour, is being played at the John Davies Oval in Queenstown and got underway a short while ago. Newly appointed vice-captain Roston Chase is leading the team in the absence of Jason Holder. New Zealand A are batting first and are one without loss. Well, top order batsman Shamar Brooks will be a player to watch for the Windies in these warm-up matches. In 6 tests to date, Brooks is averaging 33.54. When the Windies toured England for 3 tests in July this year, Brooks was the second highest scorer for the Caribbean men, behind Jermaine Blackwood. In those 3 tests, he had an aggregate of 195 runs and made 2 half-centuries. Well, speaking ahead of the Test series, Brooks says he's up for the challenge.
It's been a different experience in terms of the pitches that we've practiced on. I'm actually enjoying them and looking forward to our practice game coming up in the next couple of days. I guess it's just for the guys to get that mileage in the legs again, the bowlers getting the overs under the belt and the batsmen spending some time in the middle. I think that would be key. When I look at Test cricket here, I know New Zealand's a tough team to beat at home, but we're definitely looking forward to the challenge. We're a unified unit and basically looking to go and play good cricket and make the people in the region proud.
Of course, Shamar Brooks there. So Wayne loves when I pose the question to him first. Wayne, this question is for you. Should we expect much from Shamar Brooks in New Zealand?
Of course. I mean, you're an incurable optimist. He has scored a Test century already. He did fairly well in England, and therefore he's definitely want to play, make his mark, and really want to contribute to the West Indies, hopefully winning the series. That's maybe the toughest place to play cricket now. Even India will go there, and they can tell you they're under pressure. England are under pressure. Australia struggle there as well. So that tells you the mammoth task that we'll have to see if we can actually win a Test series down there. We have not done it in 30 odd years or something like that. That tells you how difficult it is. But he's backing himself. He's pretty young and new to international cricket, but he has made his mark. Well, he has done some good work since his starting there.
You're a man who knows your cricket, and of course you've been watching Shamar Brooks closely. If you had to, just give him advice, one piece of advice for him to ensure that he does well in New Zealand, what would you say?
Well, he has played what, 6 Test matches? I haven't played one, so therefore I don't know what type of advice I would want to give him. He has also scored a Test century. Well, he's a front foot player. He's very confident. He's very pleasing to the eyes, especially when he's driving the ball through the offside. And he's a very disciplined, patient type of batsman, and therefore he'll understand that it's a 5-day Test match, and he'll have to bat for hopefully long periods. When I was playing cricket, to me, batting was just fun and enjoyment. It's no longer like that. It's hard work. These guys not giving you these nice, pretty drives through the offside and clipping off your legs and so on. If you play one shot, you don't get another one. So that tells you have to be willing to grind it out and work hard. And if he can show that level of gumption and patience, then I'm sure with his technique and so on, and what he has done so far, that he'll be able to make his mark down there.
All right, agree with Wayne, right, George?
Correct, you are.
All right. Well, one of the world's largest and most respected research firms, YouGov Sport, a division of SMG Insight, is reporting that for the first time ever, more than 500 million viewers tuned in to the 2020 Hero Caribbean Premier League, CPL. According to the research firm, the 2020 CPL saw a 67% increase in television streaming and digital viewership, reaching 523.5 million viewers. Well, speaking to SportsMax.tv, the CPL's Chief Operations Officer, Peter Russell, says they are delighted with the numbers. The tournament has grown in stature and reputation every year, and we are certain that it will continue to be the case. We are delighted, and the linear television and streaming numbers, as well as the fantastic growth we are seeing across our digital channels, and are excited about our upcoming plans for this year to make our content even more accessible and engaging. Well, joining us now, our international cricket commentator and journalist, Fazeer Mohammed. Welcome.
Good to be on the show once again.
Faz, it's always a pleasure to have you. So I'll start by asking you about Shamar Brooks and what are we to look forward from him?
Well, first of all, just keep it in perspective. He averages 33 after 6 Test matches, which is pretty ordinary if you're talking about Test level. Generally, if you're talking about West Indies Test level, yes, I suppose it's something to get excited about. But he, like so many others, with all the talent that they show, need to convert that into the level of consistency that lifts their numbers significantly upwards. And that starts essentially with that 2-test series. Yes, it's going to be tough. Yes, it's going to be challenging. But if you want to be counted among the very best in the world, and indeed Cricket West Indies has talked about it. We've had the Safran Pora lecture involving Ricky Skerritt a couple of nights ago. It's about performing and not making excuses and not settling for mediocrity, because averaging 33 is average. It's ordinary, and you need to move beyond that.
Faz, we heard from the boss of CPL, of course, very pleased with the numbers. And, what do you think is the impact of CPL, and what do you think about the numbers?
It's not surprising. It's heartening, though. It's very encouraging, because I think they all recognized that this was the golden opportunity. With COVID-19, with so little cricket or almost no cricket being played around the world, you had the perfect opportunity to capture the largest market in the cricketing world. India, and of course Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. Really, it's a haven of cricket fanatics. You're talking about almost 2 billion people there. And therefore, clearly, just by the timing of the matches being played at 10 o'clock in the morning, Caribbean time, that was designed primarily for the subcontinental audience. So congratulations to the CPL for being able to pull in those very impressive numbers. But now they've got to put it in context. They'll know that they probably won't have a similar situation where they'll have the eyeballs all to their own in 2021. And also, they've got to ensure that they can monetize these increasing numbers, because it's all well and good to have a huge viewership across many different platforms. If you can't get revenue from it, which is what essentially franchise cricket is all about, then you'll be continuing to run at a loss. And we know this year was especially expensive because of all of the requirements of COVID-19. But it's very encouraging, and now they need to kick on from that in a year's time.
Fazeer, I'm happy that you are the one who chose to articulate it the way you just did as it relates to the number, the viewership and the increase in number, 68%, because there's no cricket playing anywhere in the world. Even if you and I had padded up and it's being televised live, Fazeer, you know that we would have gotten an audience, because people are so hungry for getting some cricket out there. So let's hope that they can build on that, because I think the CPL is quite popular worldwide, though. People talk about maybe it's the second.
It's been great competition, because essentially CPL is played almost at the height or towards the tail end of the English summer, when they've got their cricket on, and that has always been a challenge for the CPL. So they'll be very familiar with that, but they need really now to kick on from this, learn what else they can really monetize, what they can expand, what didn't work, because it's always a work in progress.
You talk about monetizing, they can monetize in terms of the viewership, that they can turn it into some money. They say if you want money, you have to spend money to make money. You're looking at our CPL, I think the threshold is like $160,000. So because of that, we're not attracting maybe the more premier players or the best players in the world to play in our CPL. Should CPL start looking at maybe increasing those monies, those levels, so that some of those players might want to come over to the Caribbean to come play in our tournament?
I think there has to be a balance, because we have to be economically realistic as well. You don't want to offer huge sums of money, 200, 300,000 US for premier international players, and then your losses are even heavier, because it's an expensive place to play cricket in the Caribbean for an assortment of reasons. And as we saw, Wayne, from in the very early stages of the CPL, even when you get the biggest names, it's not always a guarantee that they're going to give it their all. For many of them, and will never admit it, for many of them, it's a paid holiday. Of course, it sounds awkward to say it, but you will not necessarily get the same level of intensity in that regard. And that's why you've got to find the balance, because a bright young Caribbean talent might give you a lot more value than this so-called big-name player from outside.
Fazeer, again, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. Always there with your hard-hitting responses. We'll connect with you again.
No problem at all.
Of course, Fazeer Mohammed there, our international journalist coming from Trinidad and Tobago. We'll be right back.